You have to amend the agenda and then you can go into closed session.
Right. There's a technicality, but I was hoping we could do it without that. All right. So I move then to amend the agenda to add a closed session item to discuss legal matters at the beginning of the agenda, and everything else remains the same.
Second, Marvin.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, now I move that we go into closed session to discuss a legal matter. We need a second.
Michelle.
All right, we need a roll call vote. Marvin?
Yes.
Michelle already said seconded. Carla?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Tanya?
Yes.
Renee?
Yes.
Harriet?
Yes.
And Michael?
Yes.
I think that's everybody. But everybody, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right. All right. We are now in closed session. Please stand by on live, and we will return in 5 to 10 minutes.
I'm sorry, I missed an 11. I only have 10, counting you, John.
That's right. I'm sorry. I think I counted myself twice. So Gwen is not here. Gwen is not here. So that's the 11th who's not in attendance.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
I don't see a link for our other one, for our closed.
I sent it, just sent it.
Okay.
Okay, we're back. We'll let the board members come back from closed session, and then we will get started. If I can find this, okay. All right, I can't see. Can somebody let me know when all the board members are back? I can't see.
Yeah, I'll check. Looks like we're still missing 2. Oh, well, maybe not. We have 8 board members on.
I think we're just waiting on Marvin, and then once he gets on, we'll start. And Mr. Mbang. Is Mr. Mbang on even?
Yes, he's on.
Oh, there he is.
I'm here. I just put, okay. Marvin is here.
Marvin is not. Everybody else.
Mbang.
I just admitted him. Marvin should be in now.
Marvin's on.
Do we have Marvin?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So we have everyone. So welcome again to the December board meeting. We just returned from closed session. We've approved the agenda. Next on the item is stakeholder comments. I believe we had one community member sign up to provide some comments. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the policy, but I think you have 2 or 3 minutes to provide your comments, and then we'll take those under consideration and then address those post meeting. So I think Brian Hand, are you on? Are you able to speak?
I am.
Okay, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Otto. I appreciate it. Also, thank you to all the board members. I want to especially thank the teachers for all the work they've been doing. I know they've been doing a tough job under horrendous circumstances, and so really want to applaud them for their hard work and perseverance.
Before you get started, can you just introduce yourself and say who you are? Thank you. Sorry.
So I'm Brian Hand. I'm a parent of a 4th grader at AL. I am a occupational safety and health professional with 20 years experience in safety management, respiratory protection, and have been working for the past, the entire pandemic, helping to do COVID response. I wanted to talk to you guys briefly about some things. As I said, all the things have been going, I think relatively well from the standpoint of teachers doing what they need to do and the hard work that's being done. I do say that with caveat that it's not without flaws, in my opinion. I had to do a sunshine request to get information about the task force. It seems like there's been very little transparency with the process, and that's concerning to me. After figuring out who was on the task force, I find that there's 3 healthcare professionals, and that's commendable. It's good to have, but I don't see anything about risk management, anybody with a risk management background that's a parent. And I don't see, having looked through all the minutes of all the meetings, but one time on the 7th of October, mental health of students being discussed, and it was only in the comments from that were taken from parents from other surveys or something like that. I think this is a really big issue. I watch my son every day. I have a position that I can work from home. I can see his work. I can see what he's doing. And that's a real privilege for me. I know there are a lot of parents who don't have that. But from what I'm seeing, being able to monitor my son, I see faces on those Zoom calls, on those Google Classrooms that they're zombies at this point. These kids are not happy. I see it in my home. I see it in the behavior of my son. And I don't think that the mental health of students has been taken into account appropriately by this board, by the administration, and frankly, by our political leaders, by the Mid-America Regional Council and all the people that are stakeholders that I see where we're getting information from, where this committee and the task force is getting information from. Mr. Mbang, I think, has done a fantastic job. And I appreciate what he said a few weeks ago in a previous board meeting. This can't be done with zero risk. And the board, the administration, and everyone involved needs to really take a step back and take a look at the mental health of our children and what is going on as a result of the kids being on full-time Google Classroom. It's very difficult for me to watch, and I know it's difficult for a lot of other parents. I have an only child. I know a lot of people have only children. The isolation and the desperation that I see is unfathomable. And we can't wait until something bad happens to finally acknowledge that there is a problem here. I really think that COVID it's a real thing. Don't take anything from me saying that it's not. COVID's real, but everything else is real too. Mental health issues are real. Desperation, isolation, they're real. So with that, I appreciate you taking the time to listen and hear me out. And I hope that we can see moving forward that we can take a more holistic approach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you for those thoughts. We will take them under consideration. Yeah. All right. Next on the item agenda is the November board meeting minutes. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review those. I'll entertain a motion to approve the November 9 minutes unless there was some comments or edits.
This is Carla. I make a motion to approve the November 9th meeting minutes.
All right, I got a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Harriet.
All right, second, Harriet. All right, roll call vote. John, yes. Harriet,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Carla,
Yes.
and Beth.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. All right, PTO report, Alonda.
We just wanted to say that the Thankful Thursday seems like all the teachers and staff were appreciative towards that. It came out with a bang, and we did enjoy that as a PTO. And also, we want to know if anybody is needing anything, any families that we can, if they are needing anything, just to let us know for the holiday season. And so we're there to support people. And then we also want to say one thing that we did decide that we're going to do. We're going to the social worker has something that she's doing that's pretty cool. She's kind of doing a where's Waldo type of thing and popping in on classes and seeing how kids are engaging. And so the PTO is behind that and helping her getting that off the ground, just to help with that, with some gift cards and some fun things, just to keep the momentum kind of up. So, but that is all we have for this time.
Is it
All right.
Alonda?
I'm sorry, who's, what?
This is Carla.
Oh, hi.
Hey, thank you for that. And I think just in line with, didn't write the gentleman's name that just spoke, the mental health side of the kids and the things that you all are doing. I think that, you know, with more conversations, something may be able to be addressed because, I mean, technically this is where we are. And I think anything that you all can continue to think about with the kids, I think that's a great moving in that direction.
Yeah, we think that we've gotten a couple, like some good feedback, just even from parents, just if we can do a little fun things like that, then the PTO is all on board on helping. And especially because now it's the holiday season and
right.
We got a couple of the room parents that have really stepped up that I've been able to help out a little bit with, just like with teacher appreciation, with gifts and everything, and running around crazy trying to make sure the teachers are getting the appreciation that they deserve, support staff and everything. So I think even though this is a crazy year, I think that we can make it into something, you know. So and we're here to help. So you just got to reach out or let us know, and we're here to help. So we will continue to do that.
Yes, thank you very, very much. That is very important. I agree that the mental health of our students is extremely important to me, and I'm sure everybody else shares that same view.
Yeah. So.
All right. Any other?
Yeah, that's all.
Anything else? PTO?
No. We're just we're trying to just, you know, help out in any way. And again, if there's any families that are in need or anything, that, because we usually by now we would have already known and gotten some gifts together, but we haven't really heard too much. But if there is somebody at the last minute, you know, I work from home. We can get out and get some. That's what I do. I can go out and get some last minute stuff for any families that are in need, even at the last minute, even if it's Christmas Eve and someone calls up, you know, I can get something out. So just let me or Leslie know if something happens and they need something, and I can get out there. Because again, I work from home, so I'm a little more free, so I can help out. So just let me know though.
Okay, thank you. And then is your information, for those that don't have it, is it on the website, or how can people get it?
Yes, I mean, we have a website that you can link in questions to or anything. We check all the time. We have a couple people that check it more often than I do, but they do check it. That's what they do, is they check the website. You also can email me. It's alondantr@gmail.com, which my information is on there. You can email me. I'm always checking my email, but there's an email. And on the PTO website, we have emails out there. So, and we get back to you very quickly. So.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You guys have a nice night.
All right, thanks, you too.
Bye.
All right, unless there's any other questions, Mr. Mbang, head of school report.
Thank you. So I'm starting just by giving an update about the school reopening committee. The committee meets every other week, and part of our agenda is generally looking at the data and research information. When we say research information, is any information pertaining to the 4 criteria the board voted on. Of course, there is one is about research about the COVID, but also about kids and COVID and our own schools specificity, being a emergent school, but also any research about kids and reopening schools. That's those things we look into. And another part of our meeting is presented generally by principals and social workers and counselor, teaching and learning, looking at absences, looking at risk kids, and how do we support them? What kind of plan do we have? And of course, looking at the needs for technology. So on January the 11th, the committee will meet to reevaluate the situation and make recommendations about reopening schools. We're thinking of reopening on January 19th. So we'll see how the situation will evolve. Again, when we meet, it's not just about looking at the gating criteria. We have 3 other criteria, among them our own program, specificity, our staffing, and our students' need. High school is still open. We in person because half of the high school students are in the building. The other half, they're online. We do pool testing. We test everyone every week. I mean the high school teachers and students, because of we use the pool testing to minimize the cost. It is paid by the CARE Act money. So far we have not detected a problem. So I guess if you want to stop me to ask a question, you can do it as I present too.
I guess not a question, but I would say, I mean, I've only been able to attend a couple of the task force meeting, and while it might not get represented in the meeting, in the minutes, I know the conversation that I hear that large team having is about really every aspect, including mental health of our teachers, mental health of our students, so I hear those things discussed. So just want to make sure the board knows it is a concern that everyone is deeply worried about, and we wish we had better solutions, but it is a part of the conversation. So.
Yeah, it's not only that, but even in the planning process, we have the committee, social workers and counselors to deal with at-risk kids' mental health. We have now put also regularly on our meetings supporting teachers also to look at that. It's a difficult situation, and we understand this issue. I have 3 kids. I have one in 6th grade. All the time, every day, what he asks me, when are we going to go back to school? I want to go back. My daughter today told me, you need to enroll me on in person because I don't want to be online. So that's the same issues I personally, as a parent, I deal with. I'm sure all the parents on the board also deals with the same thing. It's critical, but what Mr. Hines says is extremely important. We need to let him know that we take care of that, and we will further discuss it again and make sure that we're taking care of all aspects of reopening schools. It's not only the pandemic, but also how it hits kids mentally, but also the academic performance.
Yeah, I know that. I'll before you move on, I do know that I like Beth. I only have been able to attend a couple of the task force meetings. But one thing that I have discussed with Mr. Mbang is that if there's something that we can do to supplement or provide in-person learning for students who are the most at risk or who are falling behind, or I don't know the cutoff line, but just thinking of other ways to support the students who are the most at risk, just so that we don't have a generation of kids who are just behind, for the near future. So that's definitely something that we hopefully the task force will consider, something that we've talked about. I know that we can hopefully implement after the holiday.
Thanks. So for the academic part, we administered the common assessment. So it'd be done We have been doing it from November 30th to December 17th. As you know, we have moved from trimester to semester this year because of the complexity of the year. Trimester, the division in trimester did not respond, did not address our needs, especially with so many things going on. So we decided for this year to move to semester. We will evaluate that for next year, and it is very likely that 6th to 12th grade may stay, semester with the semester, but we don't know yet. On December 7th, our 9th graders journalism class launched successfully their first live new broadcast. It was great, and the whole kids were able to watch the launch during their Musketeer times. It was really, really impressive. Maybe I'll send the link to the board members. You can watch it. It's on YouTube. Virtual winter parties also will happen on December 18th. For January 4th, we have a professional development day as usual. As you remember, every year when we come back from winter break, the first day is always a professional development day, which is extremely important. It's going to focus on cultural relevant teaching. Just to let you know that this year we're working on that, and it involved a lot of scrutiny and looking at our practices. We're working with Adi Hawkins, and at this point, what we're looking into for how to audit our literacy, our resources, our social study for diversity, for cultural relevant teaching. We're thinking of from the planning process to lesson plan, to the classroom environment, to the family engagement. And our goal is by August, we should be ready to integrate that aspect into our learning progressions, and our teachers will know exactly what to do to set up their classrooms and choose instructional resources that reflect the diversity of our learners. So, another one is we are pursuing the Missouri Seal of Biliteracy. I sent you the resolution. I hope you were able to read it. So, so there's a motion over there to authorize Académie Lafayette to adopt the Missouri Seal of Biliteracy.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion. We don't need to read that entire the entire resolution, but you've hopefully seen it. But I'll need a motion to approve the resolution to adopt the Missouri Seal of Biliteracy.
So moved. Harriet.
All right, Harry moved. Do I have a second?
Second, Beth.
All right, second, Beth. All right, all those in favor, roll call. John, yes. Michael?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
And Harriet?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Thank you.
So now for the NWA, this is a district, the whole schools, 3 schools level. Okay, this is right. All school level. This is the percentage of kids who are above the national average. So this is, if you look at it, for math, it's almost the same as what we had last year, but we noticed, as I'll talk about it later, a loss equivalent to 1 week of instruction. This is based on research done by Marzano. And for reading, we have bigger growth. It's 80% comparing to the other. We will be looking into that. And if we look at, if there's any outliers, we may make sure that the kids are exactly where they needed to be. But we've seen this, this huge growth in reading. And in Science is also almost the same. And if you look at the data compared to nationwide, and when I say nationwide, we're not comparing ourselves to this last year, but the previous years, because last year we hit by COVID, so we think that it would be better to compare ourselves to previous years' average. And this is by building. We have it here, cherry, oak, and armor. Armor is a 6 to 9 grade. And the red part is for this school year. This is the reading part too. We've seen a surge in the reading part. And this is the science by building too. So what are the key takeover is in science, if you compare ourselves fall to fall, there is a group equivalent to 1 week above the average of instruction. And reading is 10 weeks above the instruction. As I said, we'll look at it and see, work with the English teachers to make sure that all our kids are where they need to be. And if you look at nationwide, the growth is only 1 week of instruction, minus 1 week. There's a decrease of 1 week of instruction in reading. In math, we have 1 week below average, which is a decrease of 1 week of instruction, but nationwide, the students had minus 7 weeks in mathematics. So we still notice an achievement gap between race, ethnicity, and socioeconomic. One thing though I need to say is nationwide may have some issue, because if you read the literature around it, I'll share it with you, you can see it. There are a lot of kids who were not tested nationwide, especially disadvantaged kids and at-risk kids who were not tested, which whereas us, we did everything to test every kids. We did makeup session, which means that normally if all the kids nationwide were tested, probably it might have been worse for nationwide. So again, all these growths are fall to fall measured and are compared to historical and typical growth across the country, and not to growth of others this past year. Again, the compared years are the historical and typical growth, not this one.
And I saw mentioned too, I think we recognize there are achievement gaps in our subgroups. And I would love when we look at data, if we can actually look at it by subgroup so that we can sort of see what that means. But I appreciate your team. I know you all are always looking at that. So it would be great to see that as a board in the future as well. Yeah, because I guess it would have taken a whole, generally when we present this data, it's one of the main points. But I'll share it with you, no problem. I asked, this wasn't done by us, it was done by Bruce is, you remember Bruce is generally the one who present our map data here. So he gave me the data to present, and whatever we ask him to do in general, he can disaggregate it and find issues and data for each category. I do think that would be helpful, and data over time to see, are we shrinking the achievement gap? Is it growing? So that kind of information I think is always really helpful to analyze.
I agree. Technology, the 389 Chromebooks. But one thing I want to say before I move forward, I just want to thank our teachers for their hard work. I think that one thing many parents recognize is we were able to pivot very quickly last spring and adopt a strategy that was really appreciated. And I have received so many comments, and principals also received comments from parents comparing what we're doing to other schools, other school district. It was unparalleled. And of course, it demands a lot of adjustment, a lot of training, and we have teachers training teachers, our principals visiting classrooms, offering feedbacks. It was really, really teamwork, and it's tough. And another thing is our summer schools, the way we did it also worked pretty well. By the way, I had a teacher of a certain grade level commented that her students this year were further than previous year. It is one comment. So I think that the teachers are doing really well. Now, of course, it's not the whole picture. There are other things that we need to take into consideration. Chromebooks, 389 have been purchased and ready to roll out by grade level at the start of in January. We'll do it. I think this is 1-to-1 in January, from 8th grade to 4th grade. And the new information system have been open to parents on December 11. So the report was done just before that. Parents received email and information for their login information. Parents will be able to directly update their children's information on the system, and also check their grades, lunch bill, communicate with teachers and others. So again, I also want to thank our technology department. A lot of work, long hours of work. They always support the staff, the teachers, and the students. Talk about 1,300. And we're still distributing Chromebook. Every request have been satisfied so far. Anybody who requested the Chromebook has received a Chromebook. So I think the school has done a lot of investment to make sure that the kids receive what they need. We also bought hotspots for families who needed them. So now let's give the floor to Robin. Do you want to chime in?
All right, so I have updated numbers, but it's not too far off. Current Cherry has 1 seat for kindergarten open. Oak has 5 seats for kindergarten open. That one that was in process is now has joined per my email, so they may not be set into a class yet per se. And then first grade, Cherry has 2 seats open. Oak has 6 seats open. 2 out of those 8 that were in progress have now been enrolled as well. So previous was current.
Do we have anybody on the waiting list to get to those?
No, but we have 6 in progress.
Okay.
And then the kindergartner actually was a applicant for first grade. So just wanted to see if they wanted to start now, and they did.
Robin, I updated this slide.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. Harriet, was that it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, so the previous slide was current seats. This is where we are now with applications for for next year's kindergarten applications. But what I did was I provided the last 3 years, so including this year, to see where we are. So the left column is weeks for 18-19. So we have November 4th through December 15th of 2018, we had 134 applicants. That was at the start of the school app KC that actually only started, if you notice, on for the 5th week, where you see number 5, we actually started then. We didn't start till December 3rd of that year. That's why you see 000 until you see 109, because school app hadn't started until then. The middle section, which is highlighted in yellow, which is for November 3rd again to December 14th for 2019, we did have 210 seats at that time, pre-COVID. At this time, the last column for weeks 20 through 21, you will see, and it was just a little bit off when we started because we started a little bit later than previous, but we are at 137 applicants for kindergarten only.
Now, does this include our parents that are enrolled, siblings?
Yes, I have it on another slide, but it is 50. We have 50 siblings out of the 137 kindergartners that have applied.
Hmm.
And then if you notice, one sibling out of the 8 that we have for first grade, again, for next year, and then pre-K, we have 19. I have not done the sibling aspect on that yet. Was working on that at the time. 9th grade, I think I had that on mine. So 9th grade, those 5 applicants are brand new, but we also have, in addition to the 5, we have 4 that were applying on the app, but we just got the intent form corrected and is out today. And then the 10th grade, and so we have a total of all grades, we have 171 applicants, and that was of probably 12 o'clock today, so it's probably.
And how long does this go for?
This will go until February 22nd.
You think it has to do with COVID? Our numbers being down?
I mean, but they're down like slightly.
Well, 200 and 137. I don't know how many.
Yeah.
That's down.
Yeah, definitely due to COVID. Okay, so I mean, but it could be anything. I don't want to say it could be due to anything, but it probably is because of that as well. So when we had our online virtual open house, well, it was the we actually had 288 views, but that could be any of us, but that is how many views we did have. And then when we had the virtual fair, we had 188 attendees literally click on our booth for the virtual fair. Okay. This was a follow-up to the billboards, but I had some designated icons that Mr. Mbang has removed. So I will try to guide you to them. If you see up on the right of the circle at the top, there's a place that says Blue Summit. That is where one of our billboards is located, where it says 435. It says Blue Summit and 435 on the right top of the circle. If you move to the left of that, directly to the left, you'll see approximately about 16601. That is where the next billboard is. Only those little half spheres are the billboards. The rest are just designated areas to focus on for our mobile coverage. And then this actually shows the billboard at Truman, not the actual billboard, but where it's placed at Truman and I-435. And then the next one, you can go ahead to the next one, is at 2040 Indiana. And then you can go to head to the next one if we have no questions. So we are a member of the Diverse Charter Schools Coalition, and they are having their 2021 annual convening. I am on the committee for that as well. And the first part of the registration will end, I want to say, on the 21st. And it's just $100 since it's online, but you can click for more information. And as a member school, you have that option. And so, yeah, you can go ahead and play it if you want to, Mr. Mbang.
One thing I want to make sure of, because I muted YouTube, it looks like it muted you have it on YouTube here. I don't know if I unmuted it, you're not gonna hear it twice. I'll try.
Okay.
I'm talking about the YouTube diffusion. I'll try and see what's gonna happen.
Welcome to the 7th annual convening of the Diverse Charter Schools Coalition.
This year's convening takes interrupted inequity as our theme.
We seek to bring attendees together in order to be anti-racist and liberatory practices
and intentionally diverse schools.
This year's convening will be different.
Meaningful conversations with each other about leading diverse by design schools.
About developing models of successful integration.
And about working hard towards educational justice.
So get excited for this year's annual convening and come and join us.
There you go. Please join us.
Nice work, Robin. I'm really excited you're a part of those conversations, and hopefully others can join too.
Yes.
So how do you get out of?
And then there's one more thing that I need to, yeah. So you'll probably just need to exit out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And then one more slide. And then you can go ahead and hit play. I hope there's no sound on there. If so, just mute it. So these are our ads that will be on KNBC's website. And so again, the video is just kind of going through how they would look. Sorry that's small, but it's our mission at that part. And then it just kind of repeats. And then it'll go through the different ads that you'll see at that time. So this is part of a package, and it's a takeover of KNBC, where our website will be up, all our ads will be on their website all day. So far we're trying to do December 27th. We'll see if we can still get that date. Things just move around as they have. We were supposed to get November, but things have moved, so. And then it includes our commercial ad as well on some of those. And I think that's it.
So I think Brad is here.
Yeah, hold on before. Thank you very much, Robin. That was very impressive. I echo what Beth and others have said, that it's great work, and we're glad that you represent us on this. All right. If there's any other questions for Robin, move to the Finance Committee report. And I believe Brad Steele is here from Westbrook.
Yes.
All right.
So do you wanna me to give you a stop sharing and you share your screen?
That would be great.
Let me try. Hopefully it's not gonna have any issue. Stop sharing.
It says you have to, that you disabled, you have to allow me to share.
I just did.
How's that?
Yep, it works.
Okay, good. Technology works. That's great when it does that. Okay, as he said, my name is Brad Steele. I'm a CPA with Westbrook and Company. We do your monthly accounting and payroll. And tonight I'm just reporting on the audit. Daniel Jones and Company out of St. Louis did your audit. I'm going to present your audit. If you have any questions, we do a lot of audits, and so I can probably answer your question. And if I cannot, I can contact the auditor and get their answers for you. But the first thing I always want to point out is the independent auditor's report. This is where they say, in our opinion, the consolidated financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects. That's when anybody, when they first look at your audit, that's the first thing they want to look at. They're, whether it's your donor, whether it's DESI, they're going to look at that right away to make sure you had a clean audit, and you did. The next few things, you're going to see that says draft across this. Whenever we were putting this together, we didn't have the final from the auditor yet, but none of the numbers had changed from the draft to the final. So you see draft, but it's really the final on this. And this, I wanted to point this out. This shows your notes payable through maturity. And this 2022, it looks like a big lump sum in there, but 1.5 million of that is the PPP loan. So, you know, that's getting worked on and should be, for more than likely, be completely forgiven. So that'll come out of there without having to necessarily pay that back in 2022. This is your one of the notes to the financial statement, shows your availability of assets for general expenditures within 1 year. You've got your cash, the investments, and then you've got some donor restricted assets, and this ends up being what's available for you. I put this, the consolidating schedule, just so you guys could see it together. You know, whenever you're looking at the first few page of the financial statements on your audit, you're going to see this total, but this is how it makes it up. Because of the new market tax credit, you've got this AL Real Estate SPE LLC, and those get combined for audit purposes. For DESI purposes, we're still dealing with Académie Lafayette only, but for audit purposes, you combine these. And that's why some of the numbers, you know, I had people say, well, the debt looks big, or the why do we have this receivable? It's just because of it gets consolidated in there. So you guys are a nonprofit, so you can see there, here's your property and equipment net and your related debt and your capital leases. For DESI purposes, those all come out, because for DESI purposes, when you go out and buy a piece of equipment, you buy a building, it gets expensed in the year that you buy it. So these are your more traditional set of financial statements, and we'll get to DESI, and I'll spend a little bit more time on the DESI financials, just because that's kind of what drives the boat a little bit is coming from DESI. So this shows you your Académie Lafayette and your total net assets right down here of 6.1 million. So your total assets minus liabilities are 6.1 million. You're in good financial condition there. This shows you your revenues and expenses. And again, you had your net change, positive year this year at 21,000, so that's good. Even though, you know, DESI had a big withholding there in June that was unexpected. So to be able to still have a positive year, that's good. This is the DESI financial statement. So you can see there, we don't have the assets in here anymore, the property and equipment, and we don't have the debt, but we still have the cash, the investments, the other assets, the payroll liabilities, and then your unreserved fund balances, and you have your general fund, special revenue, and capital projects. Capital projects is what it says it is. All your capital projects are ran through that fund. Your special revenue is all zeros, because that gets zeroed out at the end of every month, and that's typical for all schools. You're going to have the zero in that special revenue fund, and everything else is going to fall in the general fund there. These are your revenue and expenses by fund. And you can see here your net change was about 1.9 million, which is a positive year. And you would have still ended up with a positive year even if you wouldn't have had the PPP loan. So that's good. You guys have planned and stick to your budget and make sure you have a positive year every year, and that's a good thing. So you'd still have your positive year even without the 1.5 million of PPP loan. But that definitely helps. They give a report on your compliance with Missouri laws and regulations, and this is just saying that, in their opinion, you complied with all those. So they give that report and that opinion in the laws and regulations. The next few graphs, the next 3 slides are graphs, and they kind of summarize everything on the DESI standpoint. You can see here your reserve ratio over the last 10 years and how it's gone up, and that's a good thing. This year it went up to 43%. A big part of that is the PPP loan. But even if you take that PPP loan out, you guys are still at 30% reserve. So you still had a positive year, and that's great. You know, with everything changing, and this is, you know, this type of year is exactly why you want reserves. is because you never know what's going to happen. The state cut a big chunk of your funding in June. They had another big cut in July for this upcoming year. They withheld it all at the beginning. So that's why you have those reserves, so you can weather the storm. And you guys are in very good shape to do that. And a lot of it has to do with your average daily attendance. This is the main revenue driver for you guys. And increasing in average daily attendance increases your funding. So that's very good. This is your scheduled revenues collected by source. I do it this way just so you can see, even though your revenues went up and down over the last 3 years, as a percentage, it stays pretty consistent. We had a little bit of a drop in the state this year, but that has to do with the memo of understanding with the Kansas City, Missouri School District, and some of those funds coming now from Kansas City, which is local, versus coming directly from DESE. And this is your expenditures by object. You can see here your personnel costs make up over 70% of your operating budget. And that's pretty typical for schools. Sometimes charter schools are a little different just depending on how much they have to outsource out, but this is pretty typical breakdown for a school district, is to have about 70% of their operating coming from personnel costs. So what that tells you is anytime you're looking to make cuts, if you ever have to make cuts, there's only so much you can do before you're going to hit the personnel side of things. Overall, you had a very good audit. They didn't have any major findings in any of your programs. And this year they did it a little differently. They did it all remotely just because of the COVID. So it made it I'm sure it made it a lot more work for some of your staff, but we got through it, and it's been a trying time for everybody, I'm sure, but it got through it. They got your report into you. And there were no major findings. So do you have any questions on anything as far as the audit goes? Okay. Well, what about anything you're getting monthly on your financial statements? Anybody have any questions on those, or anything that you would like differently on any of that? And if you do, you can speak up now, or you can contact me at a different time too. And Jackie knows how to get a hold of me, and we're happy to do whatever we need to do to make sure you guys have what you need to make your decisions. So,
Harriet and Michael, did you guys have any comments from the finance committee at all on this?
No.
Good stuff.
Okay. Well, it's good to see everyone again.
We need to approve it, don't we?
Yep.
Yep. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2019-2020 annual audit.
So moved. Mike.
All right, Mike, I need a second.
Second, Harriet.
Mike. All right, all those in favor, roll call. John, yes. Harriet?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
We're still here. Yes. Carla? Maybe she's not here. And Beth?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now. All right.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. All right, motion carries. Next item is, I believe, accounts payable.
Yes. We reviewed accounts payable. Jackie, do you want to point out anything?
Sure. So we had what I sent you. We had numerous expenses on the high school grant this month, and that's the federal grant. When you see that CSP, and it's on the next slide. Actually, it lists all of the. This is the agenda, so to speak. The things we're going to be covering. We'll go over enrollment, DESE payments, forecast, year-end cash, and general updates. If you want to go to the next slide, Mr. Bang. So the high school CSP grant, and it continues, and we also just got our first payment from that grant. There are quite a bit of additional building expenses. The ductwork you approved finally finished and got billed. Sherry had some plumbing issues and a hood issue that was identified during an inspection. We also had quite a bit of paper goods. We replaced all of the dispensers in the building, and that was a something that MC Realty helped with, and there was no cost to the dispensers, but we switched vendors for the paper goods for them. There were a lot of updates to the water bottle fillers that we had, and we added water fountains that had motion bottle fillers. So there's quite a bit of expense there, and a lot of student COVID supplies. Additional Chromebooks, as Mr. Banks said, we just in November, some of those bills came through from purchasing the Chromebooks and hotspots. We got an additional $6,000 of hotspots in that CARES Act match that we had already spent our $6,000 on hotspots earlier in the year. Okay, so that unless you saw something you guys have questions on accounts payable, those were the big discussion items.
I move to approve November's accounts payable.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Mike, second.
All right, motion second. All right, roll call. John, yes. Harriet?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And Beth?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. And I forgot to, for
Michelle.
the record, I know he's, for the record, I forgot to thank Brad. So if he watches this video later, I doubt it. But anyway, thanks Brad for all your work that you do for us. So. All right, moving on. Sorry, Jackie.
Okay, that's okay. So this hasn't changed, but like 2 kids from the last month. And again, remember, this is updated on the November pay sheet, but it's really for what we had the information in October close. And so I will work with Robin next month and get this changed. This was showing the decrease in the budgeted weighted ADA and the impact both from a dollar decrease and the impact from the number of students. And that's why we did this slide. But it will be updated with all the new admissions that are happening. But again, those admissions wouldn't happen. Those admissions wouldn't happen until late December and January attendance in them. So even though those students are going to be in the count, they won't have a lot of attendance to go to the weighted ADA. So not a lot of changes from prior month. It was like 2 students in pre-K. Okay, next one. Okay, this is our October and November DESE pay sheets. You know, the report is based upon the financials for October, completing the close for that month, but we already received our payment for November. So you can see it's trending in the right direction. Between August and September, there was almost a 4% increase. September and October, almost 5%, and then in November, about 3%. So we're trending in the right direction. We are still, when in my work with Westbrook, we're still using $8,200 per pupil, which would include the MOU from the district. Okay. So this is just the revenues. And as you can see on the second line on the far right, this page is always year to date through October, and then our projections based upon enrollment and grants and gifts and any other revenue. So this hasn't changed a whole lot from the time before. Still almost $900,000 under budget for basic formula. And the ADA went down this month, and summer school is at 101. So that's the biggest driver of the decrease in revenue. If you notice also, transportation and all the food service and other, those are estimated to be under budget, but again, we won't have the expenses associated with those either. And until February or so, we probably won't know, the revenues and the number of meals that are really being provided and that kind of thing. So not worried about those because they have corresponding expenses are also decreased. But the bottom line for revenue, including that big chunk from basic formula, is a little over a negative $1 million. Okay, next one. So a couple of big drivers when we're talking about that revenue is a decrease of almost 900,000, and then the total net revenue of a decrease of a little over $1 million. Also, we're under expenses for two of the biggest categories, salary and benefits and transportation expense. So there's a lot that went into the salary and benefits, and things will change a little bit as we had some late hires and some high school changes, and no interns. So there year to date, we're projecting about $500,000 to the good on salary and benefits, and again, transportation expense. I spent a long time trying to look at a projection on that transportation. November's charges for transportation for 7 buses was about $20,000. So in order to keep the buses running and bus drivers, it'll probably be that way in December. We're working on that agreement as we go forward. But so the net expenses to the good because of those two drivers in not meeting the expense budget, and even though we're under for revenue, helped out about $260,000 net. Any questions on that? Okay, next one. So this is the expense side. The top line I've carried over the revenue, and rather than have the long detail, I left in the 2 biggest drivers, which are salary benefits, teaching resources, transportation, and then lumped all the rest of the expenses together because they weren't, they were pretty close to budget. So you can see they're estimating about $1 million to the good on salary and benefits, and over in teaching resources. Don't know if it'll be quite that high, but again, those are some of the CARES Act money and things that we got that we weren't budgeting for, right? So we'll go back for a second. I just want to get the bottom line. So we have about $772,000 under budget. And then if you come all the way down, last month, I think we were projecting closer to 900,000. And because each month we're able to evaluate the expenses and control expenses in those 2 big categories, then the loss was about $759,000, which is down from the month before. So this is just the bottom line showing the forecast. We budgeted to just have a break-even year. And so I think with the year-to-date variance and really closely looking at those 3 big drivers of expenses, it may look like we'll be about $759,000 in the red at the end of this fiscal year. Okay. I think this unrestricted balance is a little bit different in the audit, but it is very close with unrestricted balance. And with the negative projected net income, we should still be okay. And that does include the PPP funds that were put into operating this month. And cash on hand is about the same as it was last month. Going out projection added a couple of days. Okay, next. The PPP forgiveness loan application was completed. Linda Cole at Country Club said sometimes it takes about 60 days maybe to hear back on the forgiveness loan. So I will keep you updated on that. Our employee health insurance company changed from Blue Cross to Humana. This is all within budget and less than the increase from the first proposal from Blue Cross. And one of the things that Humana was doing for us this year is giving a 1-month premium holiday for all staff and the employer portion. So for staff that had family or a spouse or children on, it's a significant savings for them. So we spent a lot of time at the finance committee, and then Chad worked with the insurance committee, and we've been dealing with a lot of changes every year, as you know, and people were on, they got to choose from one or two plans. And as one plan might go up 13%, one might go up 2%, each year, that proportion was different. And we've been trying to do something that other schools, other charter schools have done, and just come up with a basic number per employee as we go forward. And so I'll let Harriet propose a motion. What we're trying to accomplish there is to set a new floor and then look at it on an annual basis as we move forward. And as soon as I'm done, then she can go into that. And we're working, like I said, working with the bus company because we need to adjust those monthly payments for the non-student days to maintain stability with bus drivers, and having discussions on, going back in and out, what the impact is on that. And hopefully we can carry that forward in January. And I'm just continuing to update attendance and verifying with DESE regarding the changing of our types of instruction. Mr. Bang and I updated our AMIX plan, which is the way that we're delivering instruction, adjusted instruction for virtual and hybrid. So there's a lot of work, and then that goes into a lot of work with the database people. So, okay, Harriet, you want to?
Okay. Did everybody catch it about the health insurance? Are we all okay on that?
Yeah, can you just, I think we are, but can you just summarize what?
Well, what was happening was we were having some plans go up and down, and we were covering them by 6% out of the handbook. It says 6%. And some plans, some people would get more and some people were getting less, okay, depending on their plan. So now we're coming up with a flat rate, okay? So here's the motion. I move to amend the employee handbook to reflect that beginning in January 2022, the school will pay a minimum flat monthly payment amount of $610 per month for each employee's health insurance benefits, and that said flat rate will be reviewed and finalized on an annual basis during the budget process.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Mike.
All right, motion second. Any discussion or questions or comments? All right, none. All right, roll call vote. John, yes. Harriet?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And Beth?
Yes.
All right, motion.
And Michelle.
And that being said, I think we should all, really thank Jackie for an outstanding audit. Because she did a wonderful job and we got an audit, so good job.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Jackie. All right. Is there anything else? No. Before we move on, I just had, when you were going through your finance report, it looks not, and obviously we know the outcome, we know why, but there's a huge deficit for the year. Is the finance committee comfortable that we're going to be okay, even though despite that huge deficit projection?
I don't know what you can do about it. I think at the end of the year, with Jackie doing the books and the way she does them, I wouldn't be surprised if we ended at $500,000 in the hole.
Okay, but I guess really what I'm getting at is that we are comfortable enough in our reserves or other items that it's not gonna affect us.
I hope to God we don't have 3 years of it.
Well, the deficit is already covered by the PPE money. we're not using any of our fund now. We still have more than 750,000 left to the PPE money.
I mean, we have our reserves, but yeah, you can't sustain, you know.
Well, the PPP, listen, the PPP money has been spent. It was spent on payroll and all of the things that were required through the first 60 days. Just that's gone. That's what helped us that's what's going to help us go into next year with still some cash reserves. And so I think, it's like Brad said, if this continues for another couple of years, then we would have to look at some other options, obviously. And we're really, like payroll and salary and benefits, transportation, some of the pieces of not being in the building all the time, a little bit less, and utilities and upkeep and some of those things have helped us a little bit. But, the dollar cuts, $200, $300 cuts per pupil, and then down 50 some pupils mainly. We're assuming in many cases we're told because of COVID and people moved. And so I think, it's we have to continue to watch our expenses, but we also need to provide all the things that teachers need in order to continue professional development and classroom supplies.
So one thing also is about 54 students. Maybe you're not aware of the information shared by Show Me Casey. There are 2,500 charter school students unaccounted for this year. 2,500, and the estimate is 5,000 because if we are 50-50 with the school district, it might be the same for the school district too. And nationwide, I have Leslie Coleman forwarded me an article. It is nationwide where a lot of kids are unaccounted for in schools. At this point, for us, our 55 to 60 kids, we know that some of them went to private schools, some moved out of the state or district, others are homeschooled. So that's how the breakdown, and of course, a few others went to public schools. So it's a national issue.
Right. Okay, any other questions on finance committee or for the finance committee? All right, we'll move on to development committee. Michelle Markham is going to give that report.
All right, and I'm presenting this as a member of the development committee. And if you'll go to the next slide, what we've done, somebody go to the next slide. All right, and so what's been going that's okay. So what's been going on in November and into early December is the heavy recruiting and then very deep interviews with development director candidates. So this is the screening phase, and to get to the finalists, the goal is to have somebody on board in January. We want to make sure we find the right person. It's a tough year in fundraising and a tough year in development, and getting the right person is really going to be key. So there's been a lot of work by the development committee and by Pam Gard and Tanya and Tim Sweeney. So they've done a really, really good, thorough job on these. The annual fund year-end appeal, we had the emails go out last Thursday, and the committee worked on that and the language, and you've seen in the updates that we've done over the past few months that we have, you constantly saw a bullet point on here about doing database work, database cleanup, all of those types of things. It's really good. We're making a lot of progress. We sent out more emails than ever before on an annual fund. Actually, I don't think an annual fund email went out before. So number one, combining all of those, we actually ended up with 35 3,595 emails that were deployed on that Thursday. We had a 44.9% open rate and a 3% click-through rate, meaning they clicked on a link and the only links we had in there were really to donate. And just to give you an idea, an average on nonprofits, this year has been a different year. We don't really have good stats on that, but usually you're looking at a 17 to 20% open rate, and we got a 44.9. You're usually looking at a 2.66% click-through, so we're a little above average there. We had very, very few unsubscribes. Out of those 3,595, I think it was 12 people actually unsubscribed from receiving our email. So it tells us we've got a really good list of previous donors and people engaged with the school. And the next thing we'll do is we'll send out actually 4,222 direct mail letters. So that you kind of your traditional appeal with the little tear off and they send back with their check or go online. I do have anecdotal data that there has been a lot of activity in terms of people going in and making donations since this went out Thursday night. I just don't have any type of firm numbers or in terms of, you know, how many transactions and how many dollars yet. It's too soon. So, so that's in the works. The other thing, we're looking at a PR campaign exploration with Parson and Associates, and Parson is who is doing work with Missouri Charter with Doug Thaman, and you know they talked about it to us 2 or 3 months ago, and so we're looking at opportunities with that to get some additional PR, and then we're looking at putting something in the newsletter this week and some communication on tax deduction up to 300% of giving is, or up to 300%, up to $300 is 100% tax deductible. And so we just want to remind parents of that if they want to get that year end and this year when that's at 100%. Next slide, what we'll be working on from here is then of course the database analysis and the updates from that year-end appeal. It's always important to do the follow-ups and the thank you letters, but probably this year even more because everybody is asking for a lot of money. And then a lot of data updates just to get our information that much stronger. We need to determine a few things in terms of what are usually the in-person events. So last year, you know, we started the annual Edward B. Rucker Award, and COVID thwarted that event this year. So we need to look at, what's the plan? What's the different format we can do with what's going on? Same thing with the Generations Day. We did move it, and we just need to firm that date and what that virtual experience looks like. And then as well as the Musketeer March, which there are some ideas, and we'll be covering those in our next development committee meeting. And then we'll be planning our spring appeal. So we're doing the year-end appeal, just the timing and staffing, we're doing that a little bit differently. Pam and Tanya have worked on some incredible messaging and a plan through that. So we just need to get that rolling. And then I talked with Nicole, the EIP chair, briefly last week, and we'll start doing the EIP planning with the PTO. And that is it. Any questions?
All right, no questions. Thank you very much. It sounds like you guys are doing a great job, especially in these wild and crazy times. So I definitely appreciate all of the work you guys are doing. Keep it up. Definitely appreciate it. All right, governance committee, Beth.
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully everybody got a chance to see last month I sent out, or here, we'll start with board recruitment. Sorry, I forgot the order that we had it in. One, I think we talked about voting on Michael and I today to extend our term. So I think we want to start with that, you can see the motion is for Michael's term to be renewed as of July 1, 2020. You guys might recall from our last conversation, I think we switched how we're trying to do terms. And so we're sort of voting on him as his 3 years ended in November, but we want to do it prior to his term ending. So that's why it is starting in July 2020. Does that make sense to people?
Yeah.
Can we go ahead and get a motion for renewing Michael's term?
So move. This is John.
Second. This is Harriet.
All right, motion and a second. I'll do a roll call. John, yes. Harriet,
Yes.
Michael,
Do a vote on my own.
just abstain then. You should definitely vote for yourself though, but
I'll abstain.
okay. Marvin,
Yes.
Carla,
Yes.
and Beth.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. So yeah. Thank you again for your service, Michael. Look forward to another 3 years of your service. All right, take it away, Beth. Sorry.
All right. So the second thing we talked about voting on was to appoint me as a board member as opposed to a parent-elect, because that my term actually as a parent-elect doesn't officially end until we have a new parent-elect, which will come on in July. That's why mine is for future. So it wouldn't officially, I wouldn't become an appointed board member until July 2021, if that makes sense.
All right. So I will move that we appoint Beth McCarthy as a board member, appointed board member beginning July 1, 2021.
I'll second that. Harriet, you can do it if you want.
I will second that, but I want to discuss it.
Sure. All right. We have a motion and a second. All right. Is there any discussion? Harriet.
Yes. John called me about this. I will vote I would like this to go into the minutes though. So if whoever takes minutes, I will vote to approve Beth. My problem with this is I hate setting the precedent. I know we've had other board members. I think it's bad to take a board member, a parent board elect to the board member. I think it is better for them to step down for 1 year and then come back. And I want to be on record as saying that. And I understand John and I talked about it and stuff like that, but I do think it is a bad precedent as our board is growing and as we're looking for other board members in different areas and stuff like that. I think it is a bad precedent to take a parent elect and move them directly to the board. I think they should step down and then come back and have the board vote on them. So that's my comment.
All right. Thank you for that. Any other questions, comments, discussion?
How long has Beth been on the board as in the role that she's in? This is Carla.
So she was elected as a parent-elect, 3 years ago. So it would have been November of 2017 or 18.
Correct.
2017, yeah. And then she was the first parent-elect to have a 3-year board term. And then when we realigned our policy that all board members' terms begin and end July 1 through June 30, she kind of got an extra 6 months of time. But obviously, with the work that Beth has done for the board and the work she continues to do, that's how I was able to convince Harriet. I didn't have to convince her very hard. I mean, like I said, Beth's work speaks for herself. So that's one reason why we didn't want to lose her as a board member. So that's kind of the reasoning behind it. But there's a long-winded answer to your question. So about 3.5 years she's been on the board.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Any other
So wait,
discussion?
Well, so the motion is for her to end her term as the parent. Is she a parent board member? I guess I'm getting a little confused with those roles.
So we have 2 parent elected board positions. So Renee is our other parent elected board member. And so they have a term for 3 years. So when their term is up, there's going to be another, and Beth will actually talk about this later on in the governance committee report, but we kind of publicized the parent elected position, and they, parents put their name in to be elected, and they're vetted by the Council d'École, and then we elect or vote to appoint them beginning next spring, next summer. And so her term will end then. And so we didn't want to lose her as a board member. So when her term as a parent elect ends on June 30, then she'll start her appointed board member position on July 1.
Okay, so that's the motion, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I just needed to be clear with that. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Mr. Chair, I'm going to abstain. Harriet has summed up the reasons why. And in previous times, I and others have been adamant about this particular issue.
Yeah.
So I think it's only fair that I abstain. And of course, love the work that Beth does and has done for the board, but feel it's important to stay consistent.
All right, thank you for that. Any other discussion or comments? All right, hearing none, I'll call the vote. We'll do a roll call vote. So John, yes. Harriet?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Marvin?
Abstain.
All right. Carla?
Yes.
And Beth?
Yes.
All right. All right. Motion passes. So congratulations. I'm glad you're sticking around, Beth. So, and the point I will reiterate, I think this is an exception, not the norm. I definitely agree with what Harriet and Marvin said about our past, or our, not necessarily a policy, but our kind of desire to move away from moving parent elected board members to board member status. But I think this particular board member deserved to be an exception to that rule. So
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing roll call votes from Renee, Tanya, and Kelly. Are they off the call?
yes, they're not voting today.
All 3 of them. Okay.
Yep. So
Thank
only the people that I call for will be voting. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, next item on the governance committee, Beth.
Yep. So one, as we think about other board recruitment, we did want to let people know about Dr. Carla Mabane. We have been thrilled to have her on the board, and it's been an asset. But I know she is now in a position where she needs to transition off the board. So Carla, I don't know if you want to say any words, but we just would have wanted to let the board know about that opening moving forward.
I have moved 3 different times since this meeting started, and I started in my office, and then I was driving when that little hiccup happened. Now I'm down. I was downstairs, and now I'm back upstairs. So actually, I just wanted to let you all know that I have enjoyed my time, and with the COVID and everything that's going on, my job duties have increased, and my time is just, you don't have enough hours in the day. But in light of the other situation that we talked about earlier, John, in the closed session, I can stay to help make sure things are adequately, transitioned until, and then I can move off. But definitely am only moving away because of the way that things are. So, but thank you all for allowing me to learn about the organization. I think everybody is very committed and does a great job. So that's what I'd like to say.
Okay, so hold on. Now you might have just gave us a window to keep you around. So you said,
I just, like I said, the time sometimes is just crazy. And I feel like if I'm not all in, then No, but I want to do a good job for you all as well. So, yeah.
No, that's definitely fair. But and like I said, I think I speak for everyone when I say we definitely appreciate all the work you've done for us and the perspective and the knowledge you bring to the board. And I'm definitely sad to see you go. And so, I know you said that this would be your last board meeting, but if you do want to stay until your term ends in June, you're more than welcome. We have the opening, so definitely stick around if you want, but I definitely understand. And like I said, I think I speak for everyone when I say we definitely appreciate everything that you've done for us, and we will miss you, whether it's this meeting or in 6 months.
Yeah.
We'll definitely miss you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, I mean, I think as we look to fill openings on the board, I think the governance committee has talked about a couple of gaps that we have, definitely in finance, in the near future, possibly law. At whatever point we do lose Carla, I think that higher ed component is really helpful as we're opening up our high school. So I think we would look to the board to let us know if you have any ideas of people that would be a good fit. I think we definitely want to leave those as external community members as opposed to parents, because I think we all agree we want that balance on this board and we don't want to be too parent heavy. So thinking about that, thinking about the diversity of the candidates that we recruit, but keep that in mind and let us know if you have any ideas for people that the governance committee should be interviewing for openings on the board.
Beth?
Yeah.
I would like to, and I don't know of anybody, but when you're all talking, I think we need somebody that is a community leader that's more of a lobbyist.
That is a
good
point.
I really do think, I think that has to be one of our first, and I don't know where you find those people, but maybe the development committee knows people that are lobbyists that would want to. I think that might help. We could solve a lot of our problems if we could ever get this problem passed in Jeff City. And so I really think that should move to the head of everything, to find somebody to help us in that area.
That is a great point, and I totally agree.
Yeah, we'll make sure we make note of that for the governance committee as one of the areas we'll look to focus and fill board member spots.
So the next component is the board retreat recap. Hopefully everybody saw the document that I sent out. It's sort of broken down by committees based on the discussions we had in our 2 board retreats, what we anticipate each of the committees would then take responsibility for. But I want to make sure everybody has a chance to review that and confirm that that adequately sort of sums up the conversations that we have, and that you feel like that is a good priority that your committee can accomplish this year, because those then will become our priorities for the coming school year. So has everybody had a chance to review that, or do you need a chance after this meeting to review and confirm for your committee that those look okay?
From the finance committee, I didn't have a problem, except due to our financial situation, that first one that says if we could put money aside for, we have to be in a positive situation in order to put money aside for what we were talking about. So that is I don't mind confirming it. I just, that we can't take money right now we need money for just to keep the doors open. Does that make sense?
Yep. That makes perfect sense. And I'll add that as a note in there, recognizing that we may just be in a position that we can't do that this year. We are in a position that we can't do that this year. So yes, that makes perfect sense. Did the executive committee have a chance to review, or do you want a chance after this and to get back to me?
Beth, who did you say diversity?
Oh, I said executive, but you can,
I'm sorry.
You can chime in as well.
No, I sent back a message for the diversity committee and we're good.
I saw that.
Yeah, for the executive committee, is that the head of school review committee, or?
Oh yeah, is that the right term for that, executive committee, or is it leadership committee?
I think it should be leadership committee, because executive committee, once before when I first saw this, I was thinking that's like the board chair and the board vice chair and the secretary and stuff. So
got it. I named that wrong, so I'll update that.
Yeah, and I know Gwen is not on the call. I don't know. I think it was Michael's on that. I maybe just follow up with them, see if they have any.
Yeah, we'll follow up. I'll send an email just to the committee, see if they have any comments, and then I'll synthesize those two in one email, Beth.
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect.
Anything else with the board retreat next steps? That was all the governance committee had. And then, so two other quick things. One, Mr. Mbang, I know the Council de Cole is meeting this week. I think we want to make sure to know what their calendar is, because in January or February, we'll want to promote the parent-elect position, but it's based on the calendar for the Council de Cole. So we'll just need to know when they can interview candidates, and we'll work backwards from that. Does that work for you?
Yes, I will let you know after our first meeting. So I'll let you. I mean, generally the election happened in May or no?
Typically in March, April is when the candidates are interviewed, and April, May is when they oftentimes are elected.
Yeah, I'll go back and look at the timeline. We'll definitely follow the timeline, because I think we elaborated a timeline to make sure that we'll be done for the newly elected board member be seated in the June meeting. I think it was June or May meeting.
I think July is when we look for them to start, because they get elected in around April or May, and then give them about 30 days to do background check and all of that, and then join. July 1 would be their first meeting. But I'll send you, we have a link to sort of the timeline for the parent-elect position. So I'll send that to you by email.
Okay, thanks.
And then the only other thing is just a reminder, we're looking to do the board calendar by committees as well. And so I still need to hear back from finance and the leadership committee as to your calendar. So I'll resend those links if you guys could double check that so that it looks right.
I did that. So it could be, I don't know what I'm doing when I fill that out.
Then I'll follow up with you.
It might be better because I filled it out and then I didn't know what to do. Okay. It's a Google document and I just don't have so send it to me and then I'll look at it again and maybe I'll just call you.
Okay, perfect. We could do that. Thank you, Harriet. Okay, I think that was all from governance.
All right, thank you, Beth. The next item is diversity committee. I think if Kelly's still on, she can give the report.
Yep, I'm still on.
Perfect.
So with the diversity committee, we have done some great things. Our parent DEI discussion was a success. We had over 200 to 800 people view the recordings. I attended every last one of them, and I swear I learned so much from that. So if you weren't able to attend, I would suggest just viewing the recordings, because it was a lot of great information provided from Lisa, who is one of our committee members. So I would definitely recommend that. Next steps, we're surveying the parents to identify interests in continuing discussions and participating on task force as we create them for the 2021 year. We're seeking 3 new committee members. I've had 2 individuals reach out thus far interested in being committee members. So we'll look at those at the beginning of the year. And then teacher PD, we're going to focus on culturally responsive teaching and revising teacher evaluation process to focus on the DEI. So diversity committee is doing great things. We're, just moving forward and trying to get, there's a lot of things that we're trying to get done So, if someone's interested in being on the committee, please reach out and let us know, because there's a lot of work to be done. So that's all for the diversity committee.
All right, thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for the diversity committee? Thank you very much for all the work you do. I hate that agenda item is towards the end of our agenda, but it's definitely something that we want to make sure stays at the top of our priority list. So definitely great work. Keep it up. We look forward to more work in the next year. For the president's report, I don't really have anything new. I haven't seen any Missouri Charter School updates. Obviously, they've been out of session, but I think starting in January, there will be more updates from Jeff City as far as this charter school funding issue. I know there's going to be other budget issues. Well, I predict, I don't know, but just with the COVID affecting state and local governments, there's going to be budget issues next year. So we need to keep our ear to the, make sure we stay abreast of what's going on so we can be prepared to make a move as far as finances if there is a shortfall or something like that from DESE. I don't have anything else. I had one other thing on new business, old business, but I seem to have not written it down, so I can't remember what it was. But hold on, let me think. There has to be some. That's what it was. I know we typically have a board, kind of like a holiday get together, but it's obviously not going to happen this year. So feel free to shoot an email to the board group if we want to kind of collectively have a donation for, put money together for, donate to a cause or have a Zoom meeting. I don't know. I know that we definitely need to get together to just fellowship amongst the board members. I think that's good. And it's something that we miss not having in-person board meetings. At any rate, that's it. Thank you very much to everyone who's participated. Hopefully we're on YouTube instead of Facebook Live this month. Hopefully that went smoothly. Hopefully everybody or more people can access the board meetings. Hopefully they're still quick enough or efficient enough. But anyway, unless anybody else has anything else, thank you, everyone. Thanks again, Carla, for all your service. If this is your last meeting, we'll miss you.
Thank you, Carla.
Yes.
You're welcome. Thank you. Sorry. I'm still